Welcome to the Vision Dev podcast, where entrepreneurs, innovators, and creators come to us to not only share their stories, but also their mindset, the strategies, and the tools behind their great accomplishments. I'm Leo Burnett, co-founder of Vision Dev, a real estate private equity firm. And on the way to building a portfolio of properties worth over $100 million, I interview high achievers to learn about their industries, may it be from politics to arts to science or business, and gain some tips and tricks and advice and mindset that could help me better run my business in my domain. On this episode, we're interviewing Bava Srinivasan. At Bavaman on Instagram, also at Rise Investments on Instagram. I've not known Bava for as long as I've known some other guests on this show, but it doesn't lessen the profound impression he had on me every time I've seen him. He's a deep and wise gentleman with one hell of a story to tell. He immigrated to Canada from India when he was 18 years old, and since then set out to learn as much as he could from as many people as possible, and his curiosity paid off. He set out to build 7 streams of passive income since, and he's already built a few in real estate, one in the restaurant business, and all the while trying to stay healthy, fit, and building a family. It's a conversation I enjoyed a lot, and I wish it would have lasted twice as long, so you're not going to want to miss this one. Bava, thanks for being on the show.
Leo, thanks for having me, man. I think I've been following you guys for a while.
Yeah.
And, thanks for actually having a thought of inviting me, right? So that really means a lot. And I'm just ready to not share. Just say what I know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing right or wrong. It's all about how you see it. But thanks for having me. And I've been following you guys for a while, so keep doing what you're doing. You know, there are so many people out there waiting to hear what's out there. It's coming through you. So
lots of people waiting to hear what you have to say.
It goes both ways.
One thing I wish is to always have a little Bava on my shoulder, like whispering in my ear, like wise stuff.
It takes one to know one.
Yeah.
So you know it. So thank you. Thank you again.
You're lucky to be this wise at your age.
And we're all still figuring out, brother. So yeah.
Oh. Let's hear what you have to tell. I think it'd be nice for the audience to get a little more context on where you're coming from.
Sure.
And like, what's your life been so far? Yeah, we know each other from the real estate investment world. I know you as a businessman. You're also very present on social media, giving advice both in real estate investment, but just, in life in general. And people really appreciate it.
Thank you.
But it'd be nice to see where this is all coming from and where it all started. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So just to give a little history, I think I've never spoken about my name in any of the podcasts. So probably this will be the one, as you are a type of a guy where you brings out stuff from people. My whole name is Saravana Bava Srinivasan.
Okay.
And I shortened it to, it already took 10 minutes if I say the name.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from,
fast.
I said it fast.
Yeah.
I'm originally from India, like southern part of India.
Okay.
So it's called, my city is called Tirupur. It's where it's called the Cotton City. So all the t-shirts that you see here, back in the day, used to, we still export to US and Europe a lot. So we have, my city is all based on factories. Like it's import, export, cotton factories, t-shirt, sweatpants, you name it.
Was your family involved in the business?
Yes. Yeah? It's like every brother and sister. You see how Tim Hortons is big here? It's same thing like back home. It's like my city is all about factories. So everything, all business is related with that. So you'll have a printing machine, you'll have, dyeing factories. So all relate the whole life cycle
the whole supply chain.
The whole supply chain for a product would be in my city.
Okay.
Right. So I even tried, you could talk about that business too, that I never shared with anybody that I tried. But anyways, I'm from southern part of India. We speak Tamil. Mm-hmm. And in our tradition, we keep our dad's first name as my last name.
Okay.
So my last name is not a family name. Srinivasan is not a family name. That's my dad's first name.
Okay.
So he took my granddad's first name. So it goes by that. And so when I moved here, I moved to Canada in 2007. as a student. I came here for my undergrad. I landed in Sudbury, Ontario.
You were what, in your early
I
20s?
was 18,
18.
and I celebrated my birthday here.
And it was your first time coming to Canada.
First time outside the country, away from parents.
First time away outside of the country.
Outside of the country. First
In
time away
Canada.
from parents, away from everything. I never knew
What
how to
month
cook.
of the year?
It was September
Okay.
31st. I still remember like yesterday. Sorry, August 31st, because I came for the September intake.
Yep.
So with a bunch of friends. So like after grade 12, there's a course in India. So they had a partnership program. So you study 3 months in India and then you come and finish the 4 years here in Canada. So that was the partnership program. So it was a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was, for me, it was like party time, right? Hey, like I'm going out going to a country with my friends. So we were like 12 friends who decided to go and study abroad.
And did you have any family here?
Zero. We didn't
But
know.
you knew people that did come here before you, or
We knew so in our program there was 2 guys who came before, and we reached out to them back then. It was only emails and Skype, right? It's not like you have to use. There were cell phones, but it was just for calling and texting, right? You would remember that because we were on the same age, and yeah. So we used to email him and ask him like, how was it in Canada? What do I need to prepare to get there? And he would tell like bring long johns because it's cold in winter, and come here and buy all the winter jackets, shoes or whatnot, because they're made for here. So it makes sense that way. And then bring your utensils as if you're going to different provinces in India. So came here in 2007, did my undergrad. I was in Sudbury, Ontario, went to Cambrian College, and then after 1 year I took a break. I worked in Rogers in Toronto for a year. That was a good experience, being in a bigger city, because at that time, like you're exploring, right?
But I'm still curious to hear more about when you first came into Canada, first time outside of your home country. Like, how was that?
It was literally crazy, man. It was.
What was the good, the bad, the ugly?
The good, bad, ugly. The good is I did not have any expectations in terms of, okay, this is what I wanted. I was like actually thinking about it, like today. At that time, I didn't really think about it, because sometimes people wanted to go abroad and study, right? But for me, I never had that. All I wanted to do is be in my city and then study college in my city that's closest. I'm into cars, so I wanted to buy a car souped up, and then study 3 years there and then go back to the business. So that was the original plan. This was all of like completely different.
Okay.
So
and how did this come on your plate?
So
to leave for Canada.
Yeah. So this another story where a lot of people doesn't know. So grade 12 is something like a public exam in India. So that would decide your engineering or undergrad for the next. So at that, I think in chemistry I failed. So which means when my dad asked, okay, what do you want to do? So he was a mechanical engineer, but he didn't work because he is a businessman. So for him, it's an incomplete cycle. So he wanted me to become an engineer. So I said, okay, like I didn't have any goals or plans or any visions. I was like, okay, like if I wanted to make you happy, I would. So then he said after grade 12, he said, okay, how was your exam? I said, I was fine. Would you pass the exam? I said, yeah. Then, okay, let's go figure out the engineering college in India, which I wanted to do, right? And then when the results came in, I did not pass in chemistry. So, which means I have to wait a couple months to write the exam, and then I passed it. And then during those time, my friend said, oh, there's a course that you could take 2 months and then go to Canada. I said, okay, why not? My dad is like, just go do it. And
okay,
then,
so it really wasn't this whole big plan.
No
like, it
plan
was
at all.
just,
No plan.
Hey, why not?
So I was like, he's going,
Let's
so might
change
as well.
continent
Yeah,
and
literally.
go up in the cold. And
I did. Today, when people come here, you have so much access to everything. Like a lot of people who, before they come to any country, they actually reach out to people there, read online, YouTube or whatnot. I did not even Google about the weather because I just emailed him. And then during the visa, they're just like, okay, you need to know all
had
this.
you ever been to like northern India?
No.
No. So you had never been in the cold.
I only travel in South India and that's it.
Okay.
And literally, like I never went anywhere, and it was basically the first trip like outside. Like travel within India, North India, yes, like couple times, Bombay and Delhi, but not outside India,
Mm.
right? And even Sri Lanka, but it's like India, right? Close to India,
Is
so it's
it?
not like I didn't go to Europe or whatnot.
Okay.
Right? So this is like first
Yeah.
time ever, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And then when we came here, it was completely different. And I still remember like yesterday where the international student president or the international student who's taking care of the university, they came and picked us up at the airport.
And you spoke English?
Yes,
Like
I
did
studied
you
in
learn?
a English school,
Yeah.
like a Montessori school in India.
Okay.
So I spoke British English.
Okay.
So me and my sister, we were studying in, so thanks to dad and mom for making us study there. And then when we moved here, like we knew English, but it was with a British accent,
Mm-hmm.
So I had to really pay attention here and change it. So that was like one of the thing when I moved here. So I used to sit, like, talk to people all the time and see how they say things. I used to go talk to a lot of old people. They became a lot of friends with me because they liked somebody to talk to, and they're curious about me, and I was curious about them. So at a point where I used to, like, this person used to travel on the bus just to talk to me. Because when I was going to school, uh, like we used to, wake up and go at 7 a.m. for 8 a.m. class because it's undergrad, so you have to be from 8 to 5 p.m., right? And I have to like really pay attention to how they talk, read a lot of newspapers, watch a lot of TV, so that I can change the accent and whatnot.
So you'd say your integration. How did it go? Like, how long did it take before you'd consider yourself integrated to your new culture?
I never thought about it in that way. I was like, hey, like right now you need to know, how to cook to live,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you need to, find a part-time job.
Yeah.
Like, I just, when you're put into a situation where you don't know, like, when you're in a pressure way, like I think your brain works in a different way. Thinking about it, I think I worked very well in a stressful situation. When some people were like, yeah, yes, I was missing my parents. Yes, I was doing it, but I feel like there was a goal behind it because there was a reason I came here. And even like my dad, like, paid for university fees and whatnot. But after first year, I said, I don't want any money from like my parents. Like it was hard for them to take it because, whole life you were fed, like, spoon fed, silver spoon, like everything. I never even went to a bank until I was 18, like nothing. Like we had drivers, car, like go anywhere. I've never used public transportation. Like literally
Which is standard
in India,
in your
you don't need to
culture,
be a
yeah.
millionaire to have that,
No.
right? Like there, it's like a common way to do it.
Yeah. That's
And
how children are raised.
yeah,
and-
like it's everybody can have a like a maid for the house. Like you have a decent living, right? And when you're put in that situation, like where and then I started working. I became a universal president for international students. I
You
was
became president
yeah.
for the association.
Yeah. So I
Nice.
was there, and then I really liked helping people, right? Because dealing with people, and then I played badminton for my university.
So is this the period where you discovered how much you like people in
100%.
general?
And I
Which
worked in gas station, which
became
became
like-
the thing.
yeah.
Like if I look my pattern, like at the back, like I worked in a gas station graveyard shifts, night shift, because I have to go to university the next day, right?
Graveyard
and then
shifts.
graveyard shifts. It's called graveyard shifts because it's like dead quiet. You would have like people coming here and there. And I used to work in airport, duty free, like you name a job, I worked there. And I never, like, not once I felt, oh my god, why do I need to do this? But the first job I worked was in a restaurant. I never like cleaned anything. I never like mopped anything in my whole life. I did that, and then I was telling to myself, one day I'll own a restaurant because I was sitting there, and then and then I never told any of this to my parents. Like if they're listening to me right now, probably they'll know after. But they never knew I worked in any of those. Like I'm pretty sure they will be heartbroken because they don't want the kid to go send far away and work in a restaurant.
Yeah, it's a different culture.
It's a different
like-
culture. They don't want to hear like the hardships, like why do you need to work this and blah blah blah. I felt like the best decision I ever made was like moving away from home, like where you're comfortable with, to become more uncomfortable. But I never thought that way when I was at that age, right? I think that's how we take in life too. Like when you're too comfortable, you don't take actions, right?
And was this an influence from being in a Canadian culture at that moment that it's okay actually to work while you're
Yes,
studying? Because
100%.
if you weren't coming from there, like,
In India, there's no way I would have worked like in all those places because
but
you have
because
a
people
status
were
quo.
doing it here, you felt like,
I
I'll
felt it
do
was
it.
normal.
I'll do it also.
That's why I'm very grateful for this country and the people, where they taught people how to be grounded in a way. Like the very first incident hit me where the first day I'm going to the college canteen, and then I see the principal and the president just behind me, like he's standing in the line to get food. This won't happen in India. Like if you're like a university, like a president or a principal or whatnot, or even in a company, this will not happen. You won't see this.
Yeah,
You will not see this.
getting the same treatment as your students.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like that really stuck me, and I remember the first time I'm writing an email to my dad. It's like, hey, like
That's fascinating.
it's
'Cause
it's completely different.
it we think of Canada as a rich country but in the end it's kind of the other way around.
Yeah.
And we value I guess we value. How would you like? What's your take on this? Like, how do you see this?
Like I feel like everybody should be treated the same way.
So
It doesn't.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter. Like
equality.
equality. It doesn't matter
Parity.
like how much money you make, what job do you do. That doesn't define you. You define you, not what you define yourself. If somebody's nice to me, I'm gonna be nice to him, right? It's not like, oh, just because you're a CEO, I have to be nice to you. That's different. Because you're putting your like avatar in front of you. Like I wanted to see Leo for Leo, not for what you're doing. What you're doing is your actions. You decided to do that.
Respect needs to be earned on an individual
Individual basis.
basis.
Not for like, money, fame, whatever, because that could go anytime. And the only thing left is you, right? So I felt like that was the shocking moment for me. Like
But what would be the Indian view on that?
the Indian view on that, I think I understand why they're coming from that way, because it's the government doesn't give free stuff. Like you have to be like a good saver, right? And it's a lot of competition. It's more people, so like you cannot provide for everybody. So which means like you have to step up and do stuff.
And then it's okay to show off that and
Their way of
expecting people to respect you for what you've achieved.
it's in a different way. Like so, for example, if you're a business owner in India, if you're running a factory or whatnot, or if you're an employee in a company, right, like a IT company, that's different than when you're a business owner. Because when you're a business owner, they know. How do they know? By the cars that you drive and the dress that you wear. That's how they
And
judge
then
you.
it'd be expected that you're not in line behind
Yeah.
your students. Like
Yep.
you're the director. Like how would it happen in a university in India?
In India, he would not even go to the
Same
cafeteria.
cafeteria.
There will be people bringing food to his place.
And why?
That's how it's because okay, if you go deep down, the labors are cheap, right? Everybody needs a job.
Yeah.
If you can't
Yeah, it's-
afford to,
Okay.
if you're not affording to go to school, then you would take a minimum job, like a janitor, or like a guy who's like a coffee boy or
And
a
this
tea
is
boy.
why it's so common for people to have maids and
Exactly.
employees at home.
It goes back the stuff, right? And then it's a full cycle, right? And if you don't do that, if that guy doesn't break his pattern of his family thing, where like okay, either he's studying or taking a job or he's taking the risk. This is why I told you that I want to talk about mindset and believing in yourself, because it doesn't matter what your current situation is. It's all about what actions you're taking,
Yeah.
and how can you change it. If things are not working around you, that's a good sign that things should work in you. Like you have to work in yourself.
So that person bringing lunch to the director,
Yep.
you're saying that this person has put a ceiling,
100%.
and that's more common in India.
100%. They're just happy with, like, some people are My friend has a construction business and back home,
Hmm.
like it's so hard to find employees. Like so they try to go other provinces to bring people in to work in the factories and projects because
In
in
India?
India, like that's a big scarcity today. And like people who are like, I don't know, probably, yeah, I can say this. So here, how people who are in EI, employment insurance,
Okay.
here, like
Yeah, yeah.
you've seen people here where, they don't have a job, they don't go
Hmm.
to the job, they just get money from the government,
Yep.
and they don't have a vision in life or whatnot. Those people are there in India too. So they come in the category of like, if I go to work today,
Welfare. Like there's welfare in India
not
as well.
welfare, but they go to work for 2 days. So there you pay daily wages, right? So you go to work for 2 days, they come, they get drunk, and they don't come to the work the next 3 days because they don't care. And they would have a family, they would have kids, the wife would go to work. So it's a cycle that they don't want to come out of.
Mm.
And same here, like every country, I feel there are people like that, right? It's like we say, okay, Canada, US, whatnot, but I feel like we're just different in colors, but what we think and what we go through is exactly the same.
That's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't know there was that in India.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
like you're also getting out still of the caste system.
There
Um,
are still like
is
some
it
parts of like some really parts of India just still have caste. They will still not agree for you to go marry another person who are really, really inbuilt in them. But it's
okay? So
changing.
that's a framework more for marriage
Marriage and
and
even like
caste
for work
for
too.
work too.
Like you would not see like even in India like different caste, like for example Punjabis or others, you would see a lot of truck drivers as Punjabis.
Yeah.
But in our caste, it considered as like not a like a good job. Like let's say you're a truck driver, you're not looked upon,
Mm.
or like the society won't accept you as like you're considered like even the family, not just you, and they won't even let like give a girl for your marriage or a guy.
So there's a bit still of this
They're
concept
still
of
there,
like
but it's changing.
silos and
It's silos, but
ceilings,
it's
and
changing.
but it's changing,
It's completely changing,
which is good news.
which is like 'cause now everything is on Reels and YouTube, right? So people are seeing what's happening, and yeah,
Okay.
it's changing.
Let's get back to your. Sorry, I was asking questions about India, but it's. I love India. I've traveled extensively through this amazing country,
Oh, you traveled India?
northern part mostly,
Oh yeah, I didn't know about that.
and I
Where?
love it. Mostly the north, from Delhi all the way to Tar Desert, and
Oh
I've done
wow,
close to 10,000 kilometers on a motorcycle, like
wow,
all the way up to the Himalayas, and
wow. So
it's
you did the
amazing.
Jammu, like you went to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ladakh and
Yeah, I've been to Leh and from Manali and the
wow.
Manali Highway, and
Okay,
yeah, and met amazing people.
people, of course, yeah, yeah. So you did
And
the you rented the
yeah, I
the Royal
rented a
Enfield or which
yeah, I
one?
rented
Okay, okay,
a
okay,
Bullet
okay. I have a friend
500.
here who did that.
Yeah,
He's he's from Chennai, but he went to Ladakh trip a couple times.
nice,
Yeah,
crazy
it's
trip.
it's a crazy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you end up graduating as an
Yep.
engineer?
So I
Made
did.
your father proud?
So yeah. So I did. I finished my engineering. I have to come and complete the degree in Cape Breton University in
Okay.
Nova Scotia because they had a partnership program. So I
Okay.
did. The automation ELTN program, the diploma, and then I have to come and finish the engineering in Nova Scotia. So that's how I moved to Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked in Bell for 9 years,
Okay.
and then I moved here for my wife. She was it's an arranged slash love marriage, right? A lot of people doesn't know that. So,
Okay.
and
How is it arranged?
so I think 2015, my parents are very open minded,
Okay.
right? So which was good in a way. Before that, I was in a relationship, and I was planning to get married, didn't work out, and then I told my parents, they're like, okay, are you want me to find you a girl, or are you gonna find yourself? I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try for Indian method now, right? And then we have a Indian like a dating site or like a matrimony. So on that, I found Sam, and she was studying in Concordia. She was doing masters. She's a smart one. She's doing masters. She was doing masters in computer engineering, and so we met a few times. We dated, and even that, like my pattern of how I'm seeing a woman was completely changed. When I saw her, I said I need to break that. And then like me and Sam are literally opposite in everything. Because before that, all my like relationship were exactly what I liked, and the other
Hmm.
person should like it. In this one, I said, okay, I'm gonna take a a big risk, and then I proposed. I mean, we dated, and then we proposed, and we got married in India in both places, her city and my city. So like a kind of like a two marriage. And then that was 2016, and then I moved here. I still work for Tata, so I take care of I lead a product in Americas.
Okay.
So that's like my full time job, if you want to say that. And then real estate started in 2019. Just like anybody, we wanted to buy our first home, started investing in Brossard, right? And then, Sam played a very important role in all this career where she was able to find my pattern and then say, like, hey, you have to do something that people involved, which makes you happy, right? Even in my work where I was in a technical role and I
Mm-hmm.
was frustrated, I was not happy, I was making money, but I was not happy. And she's like, you have to get into sales, or you have to find a job that is dealing with people, right? And then I was like, okay, then she's like, yeah, look at all the jobs that you work so far, you know, you have to take that and then put it into action, right? And then even when I came here, I was trying to do when I moved to Montreal in 2017, and since my dad owns a factory and my friends, so I did couple shipments of t-shirts. So I went, so literally every day evening after work, I would go to all the clothing shop in Old Port. So I take an area, like one neighborhood, and then I will go shop by shop, and then I give samples, and then I was able to get two orders in Chabanel. So there was like a two printing company, and then I did small shipments, and then I was that close to get a Costco deal,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't win the price. So Bangladesh, there was another supplier from Bangladesh was able to win it. If I would have, done the deal, I would have retired like that year, because it was around million pieces every 6 months. So
Crazy.
yeah. So this guy. So just by going, I was not afraid of going to places and then asking this. So I think that's one of the skill that if what people say no, then I would ask, okay, who can help me? And then that
Yeah.
guy helped me with somebody else, and then I was able to get close to the guy who was selling to Costco.
Mm-hmm.
So these were all like my business ventures that I did during those time. And even in university, I did me and my friend, we did catering services on the weekend, and then we did cleaning company. So since I was the president for the university, so I knew where the cleaning person were, right? So I was like, so I don't do the work, but I was like a facilitator,
Yeah.
right? So you put the business under your name, and then
Distributor.
yeah, so that's what we did. Like me and my friend, we did that. And then even in Halifax, so you know how the real estate agents, they do showings on the weekend. So we kind of formed like two three guys. We said, okay, let's hire people, go call these real estate agents. They're wasting their time sitting there whole day. All they need is, they don't need a license to go show like house showing. These guys, like, so we found people for like $10 an hour, but we would charge a day rate from the guy, and then we would make a cut out of it from the real estate
For
broker
calling people to show up to
to be
house.
there for the home. Like, let's say you do a home showing,
Yeah.
so you have to be there from 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning till 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Basically, this guy has to go put the real estate broker's
Pamphlet.
pamphlet in the front, turn on the lights, sit down with the laptop the whole day. Whoever is coming, he has to get the names and numbers. And then we said, like, me and my friend, we literally cold called all the realtors that are on sale.
To offer them to do the showings for them. Okay.
And we made good money. It was a good
How
gig.
did you come up with this idea?
Nothing. Like, I was trying to find a way to make extra money, like on the weekend. And then I went and did this. And then I was like, okay, why would I need to sit down and do it? Like, I could just hire somebody if the guy is paying me, and then I could just do something else,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Study.
that's how like I did it. Like, usually what I do is, even before doing anything, I do the research. Like till today, if let's say, like when I was trying to buy single family homes, I always go and put an ad, like before I put an offer to the house or whatnot. I put an ad in Kijiji Marketplace, see if I can rent it, and see if I have traction, and I see if people are pinging or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then if then I close it, and then I go back to the guys who ping me to see if they. So I already created a lead before I buy the product.
Mm.
So I did that, and then I was like, okay, I know that I'm gonna rent it on the day like I buy it. So small little things I did to, test the market in a way, and then that kind of helped me to,
And all of this while you had your full-time job.
I still have
And
my full time job.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing real estate
No, no,
full-time.
no. This is still full time job. That's why I'm super blessed. Like
And it never occurred to you that you could, become a full-time businessman or run your
it's on the
businesses?
way.
It's on the way.
It's on the way. So
Okay.
yeah, because like if your full time takes a toll, then I'm not able to do anything, right? But this is like I report to a global head in India, right? Nobody's asking me like, what are you doing? How are you doing? Because I have a target. I do how I manage,
Your hours are not tracked.
and what I'm doing is
You're
not
you're
tracked.
being tracked for your output.
That's it. And so that's where like when I tell people it's and then I love my full time. That's another lead for me too, because eventually I want to invest in the US, and I talk to big firms like Facebook, Apple, Google. They're all my customers, like Microsoft, whatnot, and I talk to executive levels. So now I can't do anything with them, but eventually when I leave this, they are my leads. Like I don't share anything about personal my stuff, but you know it's still people's business. So I'm able to, like, if I'm able to talk to them and bring a business case and sell a product, like it's easy for me to go after, because I already built a trust and relationship with them, right?
And what kind of business would you do with these
No, real estate
organizations?
investors,
Okay.
because these are all like people who are making five and like
So you've started real estate 5 years ago, doing a single family
started with single family.
at first.
Yeah,
Then you got into multifamily when
got into student rentals
rentals
in New
Okay.
Brunswick. That was our
Okay.
cash flow.
Okay.
So cash flow, like I just went for cash flow. The whole idea was to like
How good cash flow is on student?
So I sold couples. So for example, I bought a triplex for 300K, and we're renting rooms. So we're renting 12 rooms, and I was cash flowing 3,900 a month.
Yeah, that's like 7 years and it's paid off.
Like, and then like it's this was during COVID too.
I have to check my math afterwards.
Like, but like it's like for me, I don't know. Like,
But it's amazing.
for some reason, I thought, okay, like let's
And you
try
weren't
different
living
stuff.
there.
No, I wasn't here.
So that was the first time you were doing
Outside of province investing. So that was
and
like
you were investing like in the province where you weren't living. So
No,
you weren't close
I
to
was
your
not even,
investment.
like,
So
it was-
you've done
it was-
you did a partnership for this?
no, it was just in Moncton. So all it was like, this is why podcast is so important, because it gives a perspective, right? So all this time I was only investing here, and then I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and everybody was saying, "Oh, I'm investing in Moncton, New Brunswick," and then they were talking about how they did outside of province investing.
Yeah.
And this is why I like, when you are working on yourself all the time, both mentally, spiritually, in terms of personal development, everything will add up. Like I always use the spirituality side, your personal development side into business. So when I was, calling people in New Brunswick, so I literally have a note of what are the I'm still old school in a lot of ways, where I write a lot. Like, I see you doing the same thing. So I called a few property managers, and then I wrote them how I felt about them, because sometimes they sell you, right? When you're, especially like you're outside. And I really felt good about this guy. So I just put a mark on there, right? And then and I was talking to different other realtors. I was talking to different mortgage brokers, whatnot. And this property that I was planning to buy, the student rental, when I did the offer, I got accepted. And then they were like, okay, this is the property manager. And it was the property manager that I liked, like out of blue.
Who
So the property manager, like, his name is Chris. So I talked to, let's say, 7 property managers.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build a team before
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
investing. So I'm calling all these guys. So every person I wrote down, okay, this guy has experience and he has student rentals, he has this and that. And then this guy, I felt like really genuine
Mm-hmm.
on the phone. So I said, okay, like, if I find a property, I'm going to call him to manage my property. So when I did the offer on this one, accepted. So Chris was the one who was managing this property already.
Wow.
So like that's why, like, when you put the intention, when you put the stuff out, like, things will work, but you have to believe in it.
Yeah.
Like, so I take this and do this in all other aspects of meeting people and everything, right? So
Okay, and then after student housing in Moncton, did you other real estate investment
yeah,
moves?
it's Nova Scotia. So that's how we got.
Nova
That's how
Scotia.
I got into Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Right. Before I was living there, I was a consumer mindset. I didn't have the investor mindset when I was there. And when I moved here, then I saw the difference of the price per door. And then it's all about the people too. Because there it's very like slow paced. Here it's okay. Toronto's go, go, go. But Nova Scotia is like, you won't, like, tenant won't call you and say, like, hey, somebody has to come right now and fix it. They'll be like, hey, it's like, we have an issue. But whenever you find somebody, please send them over. That's how they talk to you, even the tenants. So it's like knowing your customer. So they say, like, KYC, right? Like, know your customer. So just like, if I buy a property there, I don't have to do like 80,000 renovation to rent it. Like, max we spend is 5K, just basic lipstick reno, and that's it, because that's the market,
Yep.
right? And that's the people, because we are investing in secondary and tertiary market. So we are having like people who are working, in government jobs. There's packaging plants. There's Jost, the Jost wine. So there's a winery there.
Okay.
And few other like employers that are there. So we're focused on main on that. So we reached out to the HR. Like, now once we start investing in multifamily, so we reach out to them, and then we have like, now we have 0% vacancy rate, like, in our properties. If it's somebody's leaving,
Compared to a local vacancy rate of how much?
there the vacancy rate is 1.8.
Okay.
But still, like, it's
It's
people think, oh, like, secondary market, tertiary market, nobody's gonna come, but it's the other way around.
yeah, in Canada right now it's just
Oh, Canada in general
packed
is packed
everywhere.
right now, right? So that's how I actually got into multifamily, right? So I got into a group. I was stuck at a point because it was just me and my wife doing this, and we never told anybody. I was not in social media. I never, mentioned to any of my friends. None of my friends knew this, so I was just doing like on the side. So I wanted to,
Why would you not tell your friends?
I don't know. Like, I was. That's what I mean. Like, in the Indian stuff of doing stuff, like, you don't say everything to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a way of like
Or you don't talk about a side business.
it's well, it's not a side business, because it's not like I'm doing something like a
You're not operating it.
no, it's like, they call it as a black eye, where, if somebody, like, if you say everything to everybody, like, that's why in India, like, they don't ask you what's your how much money did you spend for the house. Like, let's say you call for a housewarming, like, it's a cultural thing,
Yeah.
but they would know how much you spent, but they wouldn't ask you. Like, here we ask you, okay, like, you bought a house, it's like, okay, how much did you pay for it?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Did
the
you get a
first
good
thing.
deal? Like, yeah.
But there, like, nobody talks about it. Like, it's
Okay.
like here, like, with my Indian friends, like, but other people knew, right? Like, my Indian community friends, like, nobody ever knew, like, I was doing real estate on the side or whatnot. I had properties here. Nobody knew until I came in the podcast, and then I was like full open, right? And then that kind of helped me in the business too, because then you have a track record, like what you're talking about. You're like, I'm not going and saying, okay, like, yeah, just come and invest with me, because I'm buying up apartment building. So, like, it kind of makes sense. So that's how, like, I went to the program Bell Genius, and then they kind of like changed my perspective.
Okay.
So, like, when
So that's a real estate investors community, with
Right.
coaches, and
right, coaches, they
meetups
teach you
and-
they teach you how to invest in apartment buildings and whatnot. And back then it was very small, tight niche. Like, I was 100 member, and I was able to leverage people who were living in Nova Scotia and who were investors. So when I went and saw the portfolio that I was buying, a 47 unit, these guys were there. They were helping me. They were coming to the inspection. They were coming to see the property. And then like, so that's how like, the community, the leverage of network,
Yeah.
which really, really helped.
So
Right.
shout out to the community.
Yep.
Like I'm also part of it. We're
Yep.
part of it.
Yep.
We've been coached by Lewis, who was on the show before.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
So,
was the number 2, I think, right? Or
yeah, he was a couple episodes ago.
Yep.
It was a good episode. And it really helped us too. And it really broadened our perspective on real estate because it's a Canadian group.
Correct.
And,
And now they do US
and now they do US too, and
And pretty
probably
much-
the rest of the world soon.
Yeah, yeah. So
And it's, I think the moment you can start investing in properties that are, not at arm's length,
Yep.
it opens up a whole lot of possibilities.
100%.
It changes your way of conducting business. You get less involved in the small day-to-day tasks.
Yes.
So it just frees a whole bunch of headspace for you to make better investments in the future and focus on the actual the actual points that make the difference, where you can distinguish yourself as an investor. And so I think it's a bold move you've made, and it's a great move you've made.
No,
And,
thank you. I think it's basically, as I said, I never had a vision of whatever, right? I said, like, for me, I always thought about it. Okay, there's, let's say 10 strategies, and I'm going to do all the 10 and then figure out which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally what I told myself. Like, and then the first one was like a trial and error. I said, if I'm failing, I'm okay to that, because in my head, and like nothing, like there was a lot of stuff happened, but I never thought about that as a failure. Where like even when I was getting in, I was like, this is a trial and error. It might work, it might not work. We'll see how it goes. And that's how I started. And then that really trained to run a business when I'm not being there. So even like the portfolio that we have, like, I only saw it once. Like after we bought it, like after like, 6 months we bought it. Like now, like we're almost in the refi, like taking the money and giving to the investors like within a year, right? So it really builds you up, like how to do business when you're actually not there. And that kind of helped us, like, even my partner, he has a full-time job too, right? So now, like, really managing the time, like, if I talk to, let's say, my property manager, like literally like boom boom boom, that's it. Like, no time to chit chat. Like we do, like on the weekend I call him and talk, but like when you have certain amount of time, then you realize, okay, like what needs to be done and whatnot.
So you've done more investments since?
Yeah, so we started actually an off-market business there too, with this this year, and then it kind of made sense for us because there's not a lot of people, or not any person is doing multifamily off-market in the
So what is
neighborhood
off-market?
off-market deals.
What's that?
So off-market is people who have apartment buildings, sixplexes and more, who wanted to sell without a realtor.
Okay.
So
So you've built a network.
we build
the
a network.
platform.
We have a guy who we hired, who's going to send mailers, have the data, and then we have the owners call us. So we closed 2 properties this year so far. It's been we started like in February, end of February. We said, okay, let's do this. Let's give it a try.
So this way you get access to unique deals.
And then cash flow too, because we wanted that, because and then use that to make our own investments too.
Yeah.
Because now we have access to off market, and then we decide, okay, do we have it, or you wanted to put it on the sell it.
Yep.
So we closed a 15 unit, and then we closed we off marketed a 15 unit, and then we off marketed a 4 unit. And then me and Rajan, we bought 2 properties this month. So it was like a 6plex and an 8plex. Just
Congrats.
with thank you. It was all off market.
Amazing.
Like it was all off through that deal. It was it makes sense, right? And then just using the other 2 investments, we just bought it like without putting our own money. So it kind of like made sense. This is exactly what we wanted. So we wanted to use that as a way to make the profit, and then use that as our own investments. So yeah,
Nice.
I mean, 3 ideas when we started, cash flow, lifestyle, home run. So home run is multifamily. We wanted to buy 1 or 2 a year, let's say 30 and above. And then that will give us enough through investors. And then cash flow is the off-market deals that we sell, and then we make money out of it. And then the lifestyle is, we both wanted to, be in a position that if you don't want to work full time, so we don't want to leave the full time and be like, oh, like, okay, let's go full on in real estate and do it. Because I've seen people in the community who did that, and it was not a result that I would want it to have.
Mm-hmm.
So, now having with the kid, and, when life changes, so calculated risk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea behind it. And then end of the day, like, I really enjoy, like, the job and what I'm doing. Like, if I see that as a pressure, I would not do it. Before, I used to compensate that for money, but today, like, literally peace is like my own way of calming is much more important, like, to do it. And I'm super super blessed to be in a position where I could literally spend more time with my daughter. I think that's like everything happened like exactly how it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And now I spend more time with her, like, made everything passive. Like, even, the restaurant is passive, the real estate is more passive, like passive in the sense I only talk to, investors. My partner does the, deal analysis and whatnot. So we already structure in that way where, I could spend more time with the current life to be more
Mm.
present. So
So you just touched on it, but you've closed an important loop, two loops actually. But an old dream of your childhood was to
to open a
open or to
restaurant.
own a restaurant.
Yep.
So that's a cool one. How's that going?
Really good. A
Yeah.
lot of learnings.
A lot of
Lot,
learnings.
a lot of learnings. It's a
People
lot of
business like you like it.
yeah, it's like operational, lot of operational issues,
Mhm.
right? Like that, because you're once again, it comes with the mindset, because you're dealing with people who are, they're, as a way to make money for them. It's not their business.
Mhm.
So, yes, you can be nice, you can be all the relationship, but, end of the day, it's a business. So, like a lot of people, they're your best friends, and then they quit tomorrow. And this sense, you need to know how to run a place. You have to have backup, and there are a lot of stuff that's not. So we are all learning. I'm more passive, but my partner, he's there full time. So he's there like from time to open till end. I go more on the marketing strategy and how to bring traffic in, and whatnot, because our location is right opposite to Bell Center. But when the Bell Center is off,
Mhm.
how do you make money? So there are like stuff that you have to do strategically to bring more people in,
Yep.
right? So I really really enjoy it, right? Like it's another way of doing business. My One of my goals is to have
And it was another new venture in being like a new industry. Also, you kind of bought a business in a box, right?
yeah,
It's a franchise,
right,
so it's tried and tested,
correct.
and they've got systems and
Yep.
probably like
You're buying that for the system.
providers.
Yeah,
So that's a new idea. That's a new concept.
right.
It's a great concept. It works very well. So
Yeah, I think it's. I think I didn't realize that the way that we run numbers on a business like real estate. I think it's pretty much the same idea for any business, but I didn't think that way, because my friend, that's how like the circle of influence is very important, like who you hang out with. Because my friend, how we are in a group of real estate professionals, he joined a group of business professionals where their group teaches you how to buy, how to analyze business, and how to buy them, and how to make a profit and sell them. So that's what he was
that
doing.
must be very interesting.
So he started looking at stuff, and that's how, like, I was like, okay, so there's another way that you're using actually the same thing. How we go raise money, how we go do stuff. It's the exact same concept,
Yep.
but you're buying a business.
You're buying a business.
And I was like, okay, so it really puts you in a different spot. And now, like, my one of the goal is 7 passive incomes for me. That's like the ideal
7 streams.
7 streams, right? So
Interesting.
and then we looked at it, and then I was like, okay, it makes sense, right? And and then he's a part of a different very big network that his group buys businesses in the US, Europe, and here. And he before buying this, I think he got shut down by Tim Hortons. He tried buying McDonald's. He went to, like, I think they have like 11 interviews. I think he went until 4 or 5, and then they couldn't.
They have 11 interviews.
11 or
If
10
you want
to
to buy a
11.
McDonald's franchise,
No, Today, if let's say you go apply, not that everybody will get a franchise.
Not everybody.
Even though you have money,
Yeah.
they won't give it to you.
They
Like,
want
it's
they want you to be a seasoned investor
they
or have
want, like, they
experience
do
in
a
the
lot of
business.
interviews, they do a lot of like stuff before they give you one.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until I got into this.
I guess it explains their success.
Right.
Like,
Because they're kind of vetting people in a different aspect
and it just strengthens their product because
because they want to know that they will run this and make it as a success because
Yeah.
they're going down with the name
according to their standards, like,
and they go in with the name and
Yeah.
like this is something. And then another person, another one of my
I love that.
one of the
That's
sources
McDonald's.
of McDonald's and Tim Hortons too. Another source of income I wanted to do is because I love cars and I wanted to drive for free.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way behind it. So, I've met somebody, I think 2 weeks ago. So he has a Porsche GT2 and GT3. So it's not accessible by everybody,
less.
right? So he created a business behind it. So him and his partner, they opened up a shop for exhaust, special exhaust for GT2 and GT3. So they created a dealership name. So if they go buy a product today, if they go to the Porsche and buy this GT2 and GT3, but this guy, he's been dealing with Porsche for like probably 10, 15 years. So he knows people there. So let's say even though you have the money, you cannot go, you won't be allocated for GT2 and GT3. You should either have, you should start like already an existing customer, or you should know somebody through somebody in order to get allocated. Either the Porsche should come to you and say, Leo, we have this product, do you want it? Then if you say no, then they'll go to the other person. Vice versa. That's how it works. So he found a way, like he's been dealing with them for longer, and he created a business out of it where he writes off the whole thing. So he tracks that cars and he drives it. So when he buys it, he doesn't pay the luxury tax because you're considered as a dealer. So you're like right off the bat, you're saving 80 to 100K off the bat when you're buying a car.
Wow.
And that's like, this
Well,
is our
when you're
like
buying it.
$350,000, $400,000
Yeah.
car, right? And then they track these cars, and then the gas and the tires are write off because they say that the exhaust that they're doing is for R&D for these cars. And I was like, wow, this is brilliant. So these are like other ways to,
And these are expensive cars in terms of upkeep and
then they
the
drive like
tires
so.
on these cars.
Yeah, so these both friends, so they keep one, like, so one drives every 2 weeks, another guy drives every 2 weeks, and then they end of the day make a profit in a year or two, and then they drive for free, and then it's all written off. So I was like, what a smart way. And then I have another friend who does watch business. He deals Rolexes and a few others. And I'm like, so the reason I'm saying is there are so many ways to make money.
Yeah, and then you're
looking at it.
And then these are fun businesses too. So you want to set up your foundations with like solid businesses like in real estate, but then like the further up you go into your 7 streams of income, the more fun they can become.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's an enticing vision.
Yeah, like it's I know I'm gonna make it because there's a reason. Like once I started thinking this way, I'm meeting that kind of people. There's no way before I would have met these guys.
Yeah.
Like and I was not even ready for that probably before.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would be like talking and I'll be like, okay, like this is way above your league. Like nothing is way above your league until you put a ceiling on it. Right? Any information is like good until you want to take it and see how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking into ATM machines, and you don't need a big investments for that, right? Like it's just like how do you want to? There are so many ways to like do stuff, but it's like how much time you want to put in. Like now, like once I have the baby, and now I'm thinking, okay, like do I need to go out to do this, or like so how I can maximize the output by less input.
Mm.
So that's how like my brain is thinking now.
Yeah.
And then deciding who I want to meet. Before I was available for everybody, right? Like now I'm like really picking and choosing. Okay, like is this really like taking, like really feeling it or not, right? And then I mean you're a dad too, so you would know, right? Like I mean, before like you would have seen me everywhere. Like I was always in all events because I always had a FOMO. I was like, okay, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah. And you have like a very strong social energy, and like people bring you energy. Like you're made like that.
Well, thank you. I
And
don't know, but it's like now it's like completely different. I'm like, I'd rather just take her for a walk, like listen to my podcast and do my thing, and then like it doesn't. I just feel like now I'm just receiving. Like I did the work. I feel like for the past year,
hmm
like this year, like with literally like probably 4 phone calls, like we closed 2 properties. Like with even not even putting my own money, like we just made money off market and we just went and invested that, and literally like receiving. I was telling Simon like, I think like now I'm just sitting and receiving, like it's like with more my daughter's happiness and whatnot. I think that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
so I guess that gives a pretty good context on your your track record. It's very simplified, but it gives an idea of like what you've been through in terms of businesses. And let's all remember that you're doing this while having a full-time job,
I'm trying. I'm
so,
trying.
and a kid. So
Yeah, I'm trying.
good job.
Thank you.
And I'll need to know your smoothie recipe. But you said multiple times that a pattern that you found that's good for you is you're comfortable, you're happy, you're the best version of yourself when you're surrounded with people, and people is your strength, and you like people, and we've all heard that it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
Networking in business is extremely important, not just because you want to be able to close 2 deals by calling 4 people, which is fun, but because you can learn so much from other people. You can expand your mind, you can learn new things, and you can get support. And so, all in all, having a lot of good people around you is always going to be a great asset in business. So I'd love to hear you talk about this strength of yours, and how can we leverage relationships better as a business person, or to
Absolutely.
achieve more success in your life. Like, what would be your
Okay.
protocol?
Okay. So I think the the different perspective of I had when I was thinking, hey, it's not about like you just need to surround it by people and who you know. It's actually a difference that I found. It's who knows you,
Hmm?
because I could say that I know Justin Trudeau, or like I'm just giving an example, like
hmm
say like whatever.
Well, I've seen a picture with you,
That was
you
old
with
school
him.
picture, but it's like the other person should know you. It's like not who you know, they should know you. Who knows you?
Does Justin Trudeau knows you?
Yeah, no, he doesn't yet. But I know
That's
somebody
a
who knows
shame.
him.
Let's call him up.
But I know somebody who knows him. But like, it's all about like not just you knowing somebody, but the other person should know you than that you're knowing somebody, right? Because like I could say like, oh, like I wanted to know Tony Robbins, but does Tony Robbins know you? Like that's what like triggers me in a different way now.
hmm
Because I could just say, hey, like I want to go to networking event, I want to go meet this guy, I want to go meet that guy. But you should elevate in a different level that the other person should know you
It has to be 2 ways.
in order to get what you wanted,
Mm.
right? And then going back to question you were asking about, how do you leverage relationship to business? I
Yep.
think everything is all everything comes with a relationship, right? And like we see it as we put a category of okay, like putting that into business. But if you take a friendship, right? Like I always tell my partner that if you don't get excited seeing your investor call as like excited as you see your friends call, I think like we have a wrong investor,
Okay.
right? Because I should be equally excited to look at it. Like so we started doing this. People who are investing with us, we do personality test, and then we tell them to write their values, and then I
Is
do
that
that.
so?
Yeah, 100%. So that, and then we talk this. What are the stuff that we need to do when things
That
don't work?
reminds me of someone great, and it's Guy Laliberté. I don't know if you've listened to his podcast with Tim Ferriss. It's like, I think, the first interview you've ever done
Okay.
late last year, and he was telling Tim Ferriss that on every of his contracts, it starts with a value statement
Oh
and a
wow.
mission statement, and
Wow.
it's part of the contract.
Wow.
And people sign off to it, even though it doesn't necessarily mean
Mean
much
anything, but
legally.
yeah.
It's you're
Yeah.
still signing on it,
Right.
and it's like that's the vision and that's the values we want to bring to this project.
Correct. Correct.
So kudos.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah. So, like,
I love
I
it.
don't know, because the reason why I started doing this way is I talk to people that who who's done like who's been in the business for a long time, and the stuff that they went wrong was like one person was desperate in a relationship, like either the person who had the money or the deal, it didn't work out. So then I found a common stuff saying that, hey, like I don't want to invest. I don't want everybody to invest with me. I want only people with the same values, because we all know that nothing is perfect, and we talk to this, like we talk before we invest. We say when things don't go right, there are so many times that we will fight.
Yeah.
There are so many times. I'm not gonna say like, okay, like we'll have amazing time all the time, but I wanted to know, like, because end of the day you're dealing with human like energy. So I wanted to know, how do I deal with them before I get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes my life easier, so that the personality test will give a rough idea of. And these are all like online investors. I only met one, like one of the investors. I haven't even met him. It's all like they contacted me through social media. They're all in Toronto, and like one person was in like is in Montreal. But like, this is how I dealt, and it's working. And I said, okay, this is how we're gonna do. And same with like my business partner in restaurant. He's very very big on personal development. Like I learned so much till today from him. So I met him in a meetup group in when I moved to Montreal. Like I didn't know anybody, so I used to go to all like a lot of meetup groups. So I played badminton, volleyball, and he had a group called the Personal Development.
Rewind here. Like, so that's interesting. Like, he came to Montreal. Like, you didn't know anyone.
I don't know nobody.
So what you've started with is joining groups,
Joining different groups, joining real estate groups,
volleyball groups.
volleyball group. Yeah,
But it was all intentional.
yeah. I
With,
wanted
like,
to play
actually
volleyball.
like build a network and
It was not
play
actually not
vol-
intentional.
Okay.
I was social. I just wanted to go play volleyball,
Okay.
and then badminton, and then I did Toastmasters,
Nice.
and then I was.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
amazing,
Which club?
amazing. I was in
Okay.
downtown one. David Riley was the president back then.
Okay.
So
There's so many.
yeah, now there's like groups in every pocket,
Yeah.
pretty much. So I did that. I met few people there, and then yeah. So I was in like different personal development groups. Like till today, I go to a lot of meetups
Okay.
like that. Like because you're meeting new people, it's new thing. Like I don't have an agenda like in my head when I go.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go have fun, and that's it. If something comes out of it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I met my partner there. Like, and then we connected, and then we're like, let's go for a walk, and then rest is history, right? Like that's why I still believe in you're just one person away of meeting. Like that could be your partner, that could be a friend, because I don't have an agenda. Okay, what is this guy doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go meet
Yeah,
him,
because you don't know who you're gonna meet.
exactly.
So it's
Like an open concept.
yeah, you're just throwing a net in the sea every time you go, and
then anybody can come and like they talk perspective, right?
Mhm.
Like it doesn't mean that
you'll
like
either get a new potential partner, an idea,
That's
a
it.
funny story,
Yeah.
a good moment. You never know what you're gonna get,
100%.
but you fish every day. Like
Yep. And that's how like
how you
ideas,
approach it.
that's how ideas, like pretty much what you're doing, like you're bringing people in, so you grasp the way they think, their ideas, and then you learn from it, and then you want to implement certain things, and then you tweak your stuff. So I'm doing that on like in a meetup. So I'm going there and meeting people, and if it clicks, then we go for the a dinner, whatnot. And then now, like when you have so much to relate, then you bring relatability, and then now like it puts you to another like spot. So now I just joined BNI,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm in like there's a Indo Canada export. I wanted like I wanted to really touch on certain things, so I joined a group.
Theme groups or theme.
Yeah, theme based groups.
Mhm.
And then I used to go like to IT networking events. So AI networking events. So how AI is taking over. Like there are so many stuff you can learn. Like I still don't know. Like I feel like I just barely started.
So how many events do you hit every week on a weekly
Now,
basis?
like after the baby, like probably very less. But
Every week?
before I used to go like 2, 3 per week. Like
It's crazy.
it's
You meet, let's say you're being conservative, like you meet 5 people at that meetup.
mm,
You can be more than that. And you do that every week. That's like 250 people you shook hands with and had
with
like
yeah
every year that you
that's
shook hands and that you exchanged. And so it's a lot of
it's
people.
a lot of people, and sometimes I don't post, right? Like even you play this, they have this groups that they organize, volleyball games in terms of like awareness, cancer, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet a lot of doctors. Like you just there's so many people that you meet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's if you think in that perspective.
And then there's social media. Like, so I'm impressed that you have two pages on
Correct.
Instagram. Instagram's
Correct.
your thing, right?
Yeah.
More than Facebook or
Correct.
LinkedIn
Correct.
so you post a lot on Instagram. You have 2 accounts.
Yeah.
You have the Bava Man.
Yeah.
Love the name.
Correct. Yeah.
More personal, more
For
general.
personal, yeah.
And then you have Rise Investments.
Correct.
That is more about real estate.
Correct.
And combined, they have like over 30,000
Yes.
people
Yes.
following it.
Around-
That's a
around there.
big audience. It's crazy. Every time you post something, there's a lot of pair of eyes seeing what you're doing. And so, how long ago did you start that?
It's 2021. 2021, like December, I think. So when I
Which one did you start first?
um the Bava Man was already there, but I was not
Posting
posting
much.
anything. It was basically just
Which one did you activate first? Like
the Bava Man.
the Bava Man.
That was long time
And
ago.
like, what was the idea behind
Nothing.
just
Just
starting like to have a presence?
That's
online?
it. Like same like when you start Facebook, you just wanted to meet people, find whatever.
No, but you were posting probably every day, or you
No,
don't-
when
no.
I started, like literally until I joined, the Bell Genius, I never had a business page, and even my page, I used to post like once in a while. Like I used to have a Mustang, so I used to post like Mustang pictures once in a while. Like that's it.
That guy.
Yeah, that's it. Like like it's I never thought about anything. It was just
No, but
like
I mean, by activate, I mean, when did you start posting regularly so that
Oh,
you,
okay.
you
yeah, like
build momentum
around
and,
the same time. So
Okay.
2021 is
And what was the goal? Like, why did you start
so
doing
the
this?
rice investments was purely for real estate business to like share about what I was
So
doing.
again, it's not about who you know; it's about who knows you. Like that was the idea behind it.
Actually, to be very, very honest, like it was a part of the exercise, right? You need to be present in social media. You do that, you post, blah, blah, blah. And then the Instagram live was just like out of blue. I said, okay, I'm gonna bring people in and then talk about it. Like I just said, let's grow together live, like all of a sudden. And then it became a thing. And I was like, the one thing I learned is I was consistent. So I was bringing people in every Wednesday, and then when I started going to events, people were saying, "Oh, you're the Rice Investments. Okay, like you do live. So how can I be your guest?" Like, so it became a thing that I didn't even know, that I didn't even think. Okay, this is what I wanted to do.
So you tried it and it worked, basically. But you
Yes.
tried it for a while. Like
Yeah.
organic growth doesn't
100%
doesn't
organic growth.
happen like
No.
overnight. Like
No.
so you
I used
committed to it and
And then I did it, and then like now with my personal page, I wanted to do a video in my language where I wanted to capture that audience in terms of to show them and motivate them and say like if I can do it, you can do it,
Mhm.
right? And then like talk in my language, so to show them that like you know anything is possible, right? I'm still barely starting, but if you believe and I'm here for support. Like I openly went and told them like because when I moved here, I didn't have any support. I had to figure out everything myself with language and whatnot, and I still don't speak French, right? Like basic, but it's like okay, I'm able to do business and whatnot. So that page is focused on like motivational stuff, like what I go through and I feel. So that's where the other page is.
having 30,000 followers, like do you get lots of DMs? Like how does it like what's it like?
Honestly, it's funny where because when I post something now, like I don't even realize how many people actually responds to it. Like I do get like a lot of DMs right now where if I ask for something, like people are giving more suggestions. Like I'm getting more leads, like answers in a way. And it's funny, like so now even with the restaurant, I start posting that too, right? And then now it opens up another way of seeing like other I would say audience, because now like Montreal, like a lot of people who are like restaurants, and then they see this and then they
Mm-hmm.
respond. Like now, like for example, I post few times ago where about mortgage brokers. Like I said, like, hey, if do I know anybody in New York? I was there for work for a couple of days, so I said, okay, let me go network if I since I'm there now with the baby. So I was like, okay, few people pinged, and then we went for dinners, right? So it's like it's funny that how many people sees you. And then another funny story, like I was telling Sam, you don't realize how people see you until you hit certain things. So like I have people that I've been chatting in Montreal, like in real estate, and then I told them about, like, by text. I never met him, this person, two people actually. We were texting. We were supposed to meet. Like they came and gave gifts for me in my restaurant for my daughter. So you don't realize how many people see you in certain way, because you're thinking, okay, they only talk to you, like you don't have any agenda. But it's funny like how social media can impact your business as a person, and and even to leverage your business. Like it helped me both in real estate, personal, and I was able to meet so many people, even my personal page. So I'm meeting Tamil influencers who are in Toronto, Vancouver, like a guy who's doing a bike trip, like for mental health, like motorcycle from Toronto to he's doing all over Canada. So he
Mm-hmm.
stopped by in Quebec. So I went and met him. I told few people who came and met him. So it's really cool thing to really relate with. And then they're seeing you, like, so they bought me a couple podcasts, Tamil podcasts in Toronto, like online, about like how my success, or like the way that I see things, and like real estate and other stuff. So it really hits you, like takes your audience to another level. So
Mm.
now, like every time, like last time when I went to India, they had few people. I was on a few podcasts in India too. That's still like yet to come. So, and cool projects. So now I'm working on few projects in India, like as an investment, right? Like I'm getting into solar projects in India, like with my
Nice.
friend. So it puts you on other stuff. Like these friends, like I went to school with, like we haven't had in contact just because of my Instagram stories. He's like, man, like I see you differently. So like I used to look up to this guy, and now he's looking up to me in a way. He's like, man, like I need to like come, like we'll go. This is what happened last time when I went to India. So real estate, sorry, social media really changed my business, personal, and different perspective. And it could go the other side too, but
Mm-hmm.
because you're spending more time and not, because I had a team before, and now, like, I'm spending, like I was telling Sam the other day, like I'm more present than anything else before, because it's a gift, like with my daughter. So my screen time has gone way less because I'm not sitting and scrolling down. Like, now it's like only specific purpose based. Before I used to, like, do stuff here and there, but now it's different. Like your life gives you different lessons, and you want to take and roll with it, right? So
You're clearly an extrovert. Just how much social energy you have. But I guess I could still ask you. See, I'm more of an introvert, and spending a lot of time around people makes me, like, burns me out. Like, not that I don't enjoy that time, but it's like if I have too many radars going on at the same time, and it just drains my energy. It's like I'm focusing on too many things and
mm,
being in social events, and but I do see the massive importance of being out there and being surrounded with people. Like, how do you any advice you'd have towards people? Because I know a lot of people are not comfortable going to networking events, even though they're so important, or joining groups. And there's always this this en français on dit le trac of, like, getting into a new crowd, and Any advice on how to overcome that? Have you ever been through that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think like people only see like my wife is like you. She's like more like she says introvert, but I feel like she's more on the deep level. So like you know, only like so some of my friends, she only connects few people in deeper level, right? And then she'll it's funny, she'll be the only one who's breaking the ice with the whole group.
Mm-hmm.
Like going there and then let's say like, hey, let's all play games, like instead of like all being on our phone, like for example, right? But she calls herself introvert. I think it really depends on how you categorize yourself. Like me, people think I'm extrovert, but like I if I don't feel the right thing, I'm not there. Before I used to like be a people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
where like like I'll be the last one to leave the party, like do. But today, if I'm going there, I don't feel it, I leave. Like I want to protect my energy like so much, and I can't relate with if I don't relate with people anymore. Like I'm not like in a different way, right? And I take time where like I don't like I'm just in my zone where like in my podcast doing my own thing, like not going out. Like sometimes I just be home, read books,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like and people are like, what, really? Like do you do that? you know I think I have my times where like I'm extroverted and then I like that I need a break too, right? I was like, okay, like I just need to be home, do my thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. So if somebody who's really thinking about that, I would ask them to ask their question about why they want to do it. Just because somebody's saying you don't have to do it.
Yeah, but I still think, and I always feel grateful for doing it.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely I'll regret getting out of my box and
And then
going out in
going
the
there,
world and meeting new people. And usually when I'm there, it's feeling
it's
great.
that moment of
But it
getting there
takes
and
it
then
takes
going.
for me, I guess, might not be the case for everyone, but I know it is for a lot of people. And overcoming this, I don't even know what it is, but there's a rut. It's hard to get out sometimes, and also just maintaining stamina and being able to spend all this time with people, new people, all the
I
time.
think it's stimulating conversation, right? That's how
Hmm.
I would say. Because you would be bored, like if like if you're there and if you're not having that like curiosity per se.
Hmm.
That's why I like people, because I'm not going biased there, right? Because I'm just going there to literally listen to their story. Either I'm doing that in a podcast or like in real life.
Hmm.
But if you're bored, you will probably be like, okay, like why do I need to do this? And because you're like, I put an effort to come here, and if you don't get out of it, then you feel like, okay, like why do I need to do this? Like I would be in a free flow.
Hmm.
Like literally me and Sam, like my wife, we were having this conversation 3 days ago. She's like, okay, what do you do when actually you go? I said, like, I just go in a free flow. Like I don't have any agenda.
Any
No
expectations? And
agenda, like whatsoever. I just go, I just talk to people. If I don't feel it, I just come back. Like it's not that every time like I get what I wanted in terms of like my stimulation conversation,
hmm.
right? If I don't have it, like it's fine. Like I'm out there, like I'm still getting air, like I like the process of like getting ready, going out, because you got to figure out like because I don't overthink in a way, like and I always say when people are ready, they're ready. Like you can't push it. Like sometimes you feel it. That's how I go with the gut feeling. Sometimes I feel like, hey, I don't need to go like this, and I don't regret it. Before I used to be like, oh my god, I would miss all this events and what I'm gonna miss, like people and whatnot. The more you work on, the more you see people, like meet people in different perspective. Like this is all like it's all meant to be. Like that's why I keep telling her, like you were not probably ready at that point. That's why you were not like mentally and physically ready, like to actually be there. Maybe
Hmm.
you didn't have enough people to have the conversation. Maybe that's why you're not there, right? Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I always think that if you're not in a free flow, and like not even a free flow, like the way you think, like I was it was funny, I was reading this, both positive and negative things that happens in your life is all about how you think the first 30 seconds. Like if let's say you
Mm,
think 30 seconds,
yeah.
And
Heard of
then
that rule. It's a great rule.
like that thing happens to you, at the same time negative happens to you, right? The more you question it, which means like you're not being yourself already,
Mm.
right? So that's like another thing, that I saw. But a tip would be, like what do you want out of it, right? Like if you were starting with it, like if that person
Yep.
or a why, because
So
you will not see,
being clear about your why.
being clear
Yeah.
about your why.
Yeah.
Like you will not see Sam in any of the real estate events, because she was like, I don't want to be related with real estate, and I have no desire to come and talk to anybody, and don't ask me to come. Like, so you have a clear why. I'm just giving her an example, but she was very clear. She
Yeah.
just talks, right? So she's like, I don't want to do anything with people. You do your thing. It gives you happiness and your energy level is high. But even like we both, when we go out, like when her energy is low, she'll be like, let's go. I'm tapped out. Like I'm leaving. Like we need to go. Right. I'm like, it's done. Like I can see you doing that. Right. Cause I
Mm-hmm.
have it too. Right now, like I think my radar is going very less in a way. Because once you're in that environment of more stimulated, when you don't get that, you're like, no, I don't relate it anymore. Like for example, I talk to my friends that are like, you know, that I know for a long time. They knew for who I was before, but they don't know the work I did all this time. And they're only talking about the previous of stuff that's happening, not the future self.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, like it's training. Okay, let's go. Like I'm quiet.
And another question on that topic is that you're exposing yourself a lot, and that the some people could be afraid that it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. But the more people who know you, the more people that could judge you
Yep.
or hurt you possibly. How do you feel about exposing yourself so much on social media and all of these events, like being out there so much? Like, have you ever been afraid of being, you know,
You see
a
what you want to see.
target? Or
No, you see what you want to see.
so how did you deal with that? Like, how did you come up to
Because
be
it
so
was
comfortable with that?
because it was basically at the beginning I was afraid that what would people think of me. It shows me that I'm judging them before they judge me,
Mm.
right? Because I'm judging them before they judge me.
And if you judge them
Then they will judge me.
positively,
Yeah, then they will judge me positively.
yeah.
So that I told it myself, and then because even like it was not easy for me to like put videos before, because I have to go through that like struggle of coming out, because I used to take a lot of takes, and then I'll be like, you know what, it's okay, I'm just gonna put it whatever it is.
Natural.
And then like the more I did that, and then now I'm more comfortable to fail, because I was like, okay, whatever, like people can say whatever, it's all perspective, right? Like uh, somebody told me this, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. You take a picture in front of a building, it's your perspective to say, okay, maybe this guy bought a building. I could
Hmm.
say this guy just took a picture in front of a building to show off, and say that he's going to buy a building. The other person could say, wow, like what an amazing building. So it's all perspective. Everybody's going to
Hmm.
say something, right? So your job is to post a picture, and that's it, and let people decide what they want to decide. So that really stuck me, and I'm like, you know what, my like goal is to provide content, because I wanted to really share. When I went through this, all helped me. If you do that and one person changes his life, I'm happy. So that's why like when I post these videos, I get more comments. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
thanks for posting this, it changed my perspective, thanks for posting this. Like it may be a video or whatnot, but I was going through a bad day, I read that post that you shared with somebody, and it really changed. That's all I expect.
Hmm. So, are you ever afraid of not being relevant, or do
Oh
you
yeah,
ever?
absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot make everybody happy. Like, as they say, right? I'm not selling ice cream where I cannot make anybody happy. But like, I look at the positive stuff
Hmm.
rather than the negative. I think that's how I really like see that way. Like, I've trained myself. Like, it's become more default now. Like, instead of like, saying like, oh, I'm in a traffic, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I have a car. Like, instead of when I'm sitting in traffic, I'm like, shit, like, look at this, man. This is my dream life. Like I wanted this car, I'm driving. Like before I used to write down my gratefulness, like what I'm grateful for. Now I'm like just living, like I'm like saying it and feeling it and doing it. Like every time I look at my window, I'm like, this is like I wrote this down in my like
Every
what I
time you
wanted
look
to
at your,
look like a view like from my apartment. I was like I had this like written it down like this type of life I want to live, and then I'm like yeah, I could never complain. Like try to see things more positively, like even during negative situation, because there's always something to see positive. So that kind of helped me.
I'd be curious to know how you take care of your health, given all that you do. You're now a new father. You're not sleeping as many hours as you wish, but you seem to be absolutely okay with that. And so definitely you're in good health. Anything special you do in terms of, I don't know, training, eating,
I think
or
basically Indian eating and intermittent fasting.
intermittent fasting?
So I do like 12 to 8. I
Okay.
eat during 12 to 8. And then like I go through, like everybody go through phases, right? Like going from having a personal trainer to like, I want to, do all this. But along those lines, I cultivated that, like whatever you eat is literally like how you think. Like it's all correlated.
So what do you eat?
I drink, juice every morning, like a smoothie, like let's say around,
So you do drink smoothies.
yeah,
So I do need to get your recipe.
yeah. It's called like
I knew it.
it's a Gandhi smoothie. It's called Gandhi.
It's a Gandhi smoothie.
Gandhi smoothie. If you go to
Oh man.
what is that vegan place? I can't remember right now. Yeah, it's basically spinach, pineapple, orange, turmeric, ginger, pretty much everything together. Like
Nice.
so that kind of
Sounds
gives you
delicious.
that kind of gives you like all stuff in the morning, and I try to balance because my wife is vegetarian
Okay.
by choice.
Do you eat mostly vegetarian as well?
I eat vegetarian at home, but I eat everything, right? So like I eat out, but yeah, try to like balance it off with enough carbs and wheat and like I do like ginger shots at home,
Okay.
and then I do cold shower every morning,
Cold shower every morning.
cold shower every morning. So that
Spike
like
your adrenaline.
big time, and then every time when I don't feel good,
I was
when I
also surprised.
when I don't feel good, I either go for a run or I do cold shower.
Okay.
So that
So
kind
that
of
in
like
terms of like personal training, that's running.
running, gym twice. Like now with the schedule, like now I'm just going swimming and like a lot of walks with her, like with the daughter, and um, sports twice. Before I used to play like 4 to 6 times a week. I was really hard on before, like before the kid. I was at gym at like 5 a.m. Like I was in my whole routine. Now it's different, but now like this really like helps me to, since whatever I did before, it's kind of like a bank that I'm kind of using it, and
Mm-hmm.
then using it to my own like way to think. So I just started. I just did a gut test, so I'm waiting for the results to see like so. There's
See,
a whole
as a
thing.
preventive measure to
No,
see.
actually, so your gut microbiome
Mm-hmm.
is like your brain of your stomach, right? What food, like sometimes there is food that you eat every day that you have no idea that's bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to do it is by test, right?
So they'll check on your floor, like your microbiome's health,
And then
diversity.
they'll tell you what's your superfood, what's the food to avoid. This will literally cure like 99.99% of your health. Like sometimes your whole life, even though let's say
Hmm.
bread is your staple food, bread would be like something that's not your body would have liked, but you've been consuming it every time, so that causes to lose your energy, brain fog,
Mm-hmm.
energy level reduction, and sleep
Gluten.
deprivation, and so many stuff. So yeah, like there are like I feel everything is all relates together. What you eat, your sleep, how your mood, and then the way you think, stuff happens in your life. It's all like all together. I feel like. So that's why, like, your thinking should be very clear, because you have to eat properly, you have to sleep properly, and drink
Hmm.
water, like all this together. Like sometimes I feel like when I'm reading everything, like I'm able to connect these things and then putting into practice, and then see it, like do a lot of research on myself, and then be like, oh my god, that's why. Because when I wake up and run in the morning, like I have a different view. So I feel like everything is all correlated with each other. Then I follow guys that are like, health related, rewiring the brain, like Joe Dispenza and a few others. I wanted to go to their retreats.
Nice.
I'm planning to go. There's one in Mexico this December. I'm hoping to go there for the 1 week retreat. And then yeah, there are like other stuff that I'm really really like very much interested, because I can use it in my own right, and then which helps
Hmm.
me so I can impact other people. And then at the same time, like, I have a daughter that can be an example. So
Is there a book you have gifted more than any other, or that you reread regularly?
I think I like there are a few things for spirituality, like, like about manifestation. Like I like Ask and It's Given by Esther Hicks.
Ask and it's given.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's literally like, basically you just need to ask anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
And there are like certain exercises that you do to do that. And then another one I would say is E Squire by Pam Grote. So
East
E Squire.
Esquire.
Yeah, E and then Squared, Squired.
Okay.
And it's like it shows you they give you like 10 exercise to do, and then you would probably work it, and then get it. Like half of the time, like my life I manifested like literally to the dot of a lot of stuff. So now I need to get back to those stuff again. So
Thank you. We'll
thank
put that
you.
in the show notes. Before I let you go, Bava, we have a little something for you, specially prepared
Oh wow.
as a something to remember this episode by.
Thank you so much. Wow.
So
That's
you're
so
the
cool.
you're the first one we gifted to,
Oh
and
wow. I'm so honored, man. Thank you.
the goal will be to start a little
Sal with
a
everybody.
little wall with a copy of
See, you talked
everyone's.
about Porsche, and they have Porsche at the back.
There you go.
This is insane. Wow.
Thanks for coming on the show, Baba.
No, thank you so
It
much.
was a real pleasure,
Thank you,
and
thank
we're
you.
gonna have to do a sequel to that, because I have half of my questions I didn't get to ask. And,
No, I would like to
there's gonna be
equally-
more questions from everyone too. So
Thank you. No, thank
Yeah.
you, Leo, for taking your time. I think you're a wisdom guy yourself, because when you say those things, it's like it takes one to know one. That's what I always think. And I'm really equally looking forward to learning from you. So I learned some things from you I didn't know about your India trip.
mm,
So there are so many stuff to uncover too. So yeah,
glad
thank
we
you.
could talk.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you.